Welcome to the War Business Podcast, hosted by Matthew Bruneman, the author, Brendan Clark, your consigliere for all things war, and Dakota Maynard, the Appalachian war wizard. War is a business. Some would even call it a racket. Every modern war and every business has a carefully crafted marketing image. The War Business Podcast breaches that veil so you can hear the real stories of the average Americans who fight our wars and drive the war industry forward. Our mission is to tell the stories of conventional warriors. Let the captains of the war industry share their endeavors and inform the listeners of current global conflicts. All three hosts served in the United States Marine Corps and hold well-informed perspectives of war and war business. This concludes your introduction. Stand by for the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special very special guest for you today. How do I describe this guy? First, he would be the reason why I'm not fishing this afternoon. Also, he is the descendant of a Nordic King. I think it's King Farehair. So we have, a Nordic Princess in our midst today. And he is a man among men and a Marine that I wrote extensively about in my book, War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province. The greatest compliment I could give this man would be to describe him as average at best. Ladies, gents, CIA handlers, and BigFoot, today's guest is Matthew Dyba. Dyba, what's going on, man?
Oh, living the dream, man. Thank you for that. Wonderful.
BigFoot.
I'm going to get into a quick service bio, but can you explain your royal bloodline?
Oh yeah, I'm the 34th great grandson of the first king of Norway, Harald the Fairhaired. Yeah.
You fucking look like it. You look like that.
Thank you.
But I did mean that as a compliment.
I believe you.
All right. So our guest is Matthew Dyba. He was a United States Marine. He was a sergeant of Marines, served for 5 years as an O231 intelligence specialist. He served in the 1st Marine Regiment and later in the 2nd Battalion, 1st Marines. 2 deployments. First deployment was with Jaboy when he went to Helmand Province, 2010, 2011, and then we got back and he went on the 31st MEU. Some of his notable awards would have been a Navy and Marine Corps Achievement Medal, NCO of the Quarter, and an NJP. You want to talk a little bit about that NJP, or should we push?
Oh, it's up to you. I mean, I can go into it now or whenever.
Yeah, we'll get into it in the service section of it. So if you could partake in any battle in human history, what would it be?
Well, if I had to, and I get to survive,
Up to you. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
I've always Battle of Tarawa for me is like just the lore around it of, they said it would take 1,000 armies 1,000 years to conquer it, and we did in like a long weekend or something.
The Marines were mad because they missed the 72, so they just wrapped it up as quick as they could.
Yeah.
They're like, fucking Libos canceled, dude.
Fuck this. Someone's got to pay. And my great uncle was actually there.
Japanese, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Was he at work, or was it like a pleasure thing he had going on?
He was working. Yeah, he was a Marine.
That's cool.
He was cooking rice patties with a flamethrower. Anyways, Okay, Taro, I had forgot about your uncle having been there, great uncle having been there. Now, before America goes to war or whatever, we get steak and lobster and ice cream. But back when we would win wars, they would cancel your libo and make you go fuck people up for that. Anyways,
They had ice cream machines on those Navy boats in World War II. The Japanese prisoners, like the three fucking prisoners that got taken to the U.S. ships, were like they were quoted after the war of being like, we knew when we were taken prisoner, we knew the war was over when the Americans were making fucking ice cream on their boats before they came and used a tank with a flamethrower instead of a cannon on the front of it to roast us.
yeah. So why did you join the Marine Corps?
Um, it's not because I was a patriot, that's for sure. I was like just a bit of a lost soul. I was looking for something, anything to fix me. I knew I didn't want to go to school, and I felt like if I stayed on the track that I was on, I was just gonna, I don't know, it wasn't gonna be good. And
Yeah.
I just felt like a failure already. I was a little bit older. I was like 20 when I left for boot camp. And but really the main like catalyst of it was my friends and I would always drink at this like sports bar, and they knew some of the girls that worked there. So they just started serving me underage. And then like the actual like main bartender guy was, he'd been a Marine, he'd been a grunt, and he was going back in as a recruiter. And some of the there was a guy from high school that came back from boot camp, and he showed up there, and I was kind of just bullshitting with him, and I was like, yeah, I've been thinking about it. And he roped me in, and probably picked up PFC because of it. And it was tough for me though. Like I kind of promised my grandma on her deathbed that I wouldn't join the military because her little brother was like, she raised him, and he was only 2 years older than my mom. Like they went to high school together, and he was a Marine. He died in Vietnam on Christmas Eve in like 69 or something. But my dad's two of his best friends were Marines in Vietnam that both died, and everyone was just telling me, begging me not to do it. So I did it.
Yeah, I kind of have I got somewhat of a similar story. My grandmother, her fiance, got killed in World War II, and then I suppose, thankfully, because then I was eventually born because she got married again, and then my family had an intervention before going to recruit training. Don't do it.
Oh, we forgot to ask the question at the top. Dyba, can you bench 135?
Barely.
Okay. Okay. Maynard.
Yeah.
He scraped by on that one, pal.
This shirt doesn't really do me justice, but I'm super jacked.
I benched 50 yesterday.
50-pound dumbbells?
25-pound dumbbells.
Oh, dude, good for you.
I had shoulder surgery 3 weeks ago for fucking reference, dude. Like, yeah, it is good for me. So thanks, Dyba. Shit.
I never know when you're being serious.
I have the scars, dude. I can show you.
I believe you had shoulder pad. Like, what'd you do?
I had a torn labrum. Like the whole thing was torn. They had to do so much. Dude, I had shoulder surgery. I had 25-pound dumbbells, dude. It was a lot for me right now.
Like, to me, personally.
Say what?
I'm sure it was painful.
The bench press or the shoulder surgery?
All of it.
I was high for the shoulder. Well, I was actually asleep for the shoulder surgery. Then I was high afterwards. So
Nice.
wasn't, you know.
All right.
Anyways,
So,
back
so
on track.
your bartender ended up being your recruiter.
He wasn't my actual recruiter, but he was already kind of working out of the recruiting station. And at one point I tried to back out and he's the one, or I can't remember exactly what it was. My mom was like having a really hard time. And I think I wasn't gonna do it without like her blessing. And she came in and the bartender actually was the one that like really did all the heavy lifting and selling the family and even me. And I've stayed in touch with him over the years. He's rock solid dude. He's a good one.
Cool. All
I,
right. So
before you
when do
go,
you
Matt,
go to?
before you go, I was just gonna say, I feel like all decisions, like the beginning part of joining the Marine Corps, starts with alcohol. Get some young men buzzing, and then next thing you know, they're signing the dotted line to go. It happened to me. Me and my buddies used to
Yeah,
drink, and we're like, we're gonna do it.
I was just definitely a soft target.
Did they purposely recruit like drunk high schoolers to join the Marine Corps? Because that seems to be the one underlying like commonality. It's like, yeah, me and my buddies used to get drunk in a van when we were 11th graders, and then anyways, I ended up going to boot camp.
Well, if you want them to take risks and not think a whole lot about why they're doing it, I think it's a pretty good strategy.
So actually a pretty sweet tagline for a job. Like, do you want to do some risky shit and not have to worry about it? Really?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. We'll give you a gun to do that risky shit with.
I mean, it still sounds like fun.
It does, dude. It sounds
I'd
cool.
do it again, but
Yeah. All right. So when do you go to recruit training, and then do you pick your job?
yeah, I picked initially I wanted to be a machinist and I wish I would have well, part of me wishes I would have. Um, I still find it very interesting and I think I would just be turning out parts for my dirt bike in the garage all day, but my dad was pissed and he's like, dude, you need to fucking do something that's going to translate into a real career after you get out. So I told my recruiter and he's like, oh, I got the perfect thing for you. You're going to be like James Bond plus a Marine. Like it's the shit. You're going to be O231 intelligence specialist. I'm like, that sounds sexy. And he was lying, but it kind of, I don't know, it kind of came true in a way.
Worked out a bit. All right. So
Yeah.
when you go to boot camp recruit training,
August 10th, 2008.
okay. And then you go to your MOS school, Dam Nick, Virginia, which is more just drinking and debauchery, all that good stuff, fun stuff. Great place to be, actually. What's your first duty station?
First Marine Regiment.
First Marine Regiment, and then what do you do there? How long before you got there did you know that you're going to be deploying?
Before I got there?
Or when you got there, when did you find out?
Almost immediately, I think. I don't remember for sure. I think it was a rumor when I got there, but within probably a month and a half, I think it was pretty official.
So I was a month behind you in intel school. When I was picking orders, we had known First Marines is deploying.
Okay.
at
That's
that point. So my very first weekend with you guys, when I first check in, very first weekend was CPX 1 or CPX 2. So you guys were already training.
right.
Did you guys know each other in the schoolhouse?
I I think we definitely ran into each other. Like I had seen him before, but we didn't hang out.
They had me in the mold barracks. You were in the Navy barracks, right? With the TVs and all that good stuff, like multiple
Yeah.
decks. Yeah, they had me in the black mold barracks across the
The
way.
black mold barracks ones that didn't have doors on them and shit. When
Yeah.
I was a month behind you in boot camp, Dyba. Who was your drill instructors, dude?
Oh God. Senior drill instructor, staff sergeant tuning. Um, another staff sergeant. God, I haven't thought about those guys in a long time. Damn it. His name will come to me. An Asian
Black or
guy.
white guy? Okay. Oh
And,
God, the
He's black,
Asians are the
something
meanest.
black, white, or Mexican.
and something in between, Maynard.
Yeah.
The reason I ask is because there was a freaking dude. There was a drill instructor who used to post up. He had like a Silverado like 2500, but it had Alaska plates on it. And he was somebody's senior drill instructor out ahead of my company. And when I was like 18-year-old fucking recruit dummy, it blew my mind. I was like, how did he get a vehicle from Alaska to California? I understood the concept of like trains and boats and shit. What I didn't know is that if you were from Alaska and you registered your vehicle in your home state, but you lived in Southern California, they would just mail you a license plate. I assumed, probably incorrectly, that he had
Veteran.
drove it all the way from Alaska. I was like, that's a fucking hell of a truck, dude. Drive all the way from Alaska.
I'm just impressed that you had the mental capacity to think about and ponder these things.
Oh, dude, I was so zoned out the whole time. My mind was everywhere but boot camp. It was some traumatic like shit for a stupid trailer park kid from Oklahoma. Let's talk about the real elephant in the room, and then we'll get off the boot camp and back to First Marines. Did the Italian sadist shave your head ever at MCRD San Diego?
I know that I bled many times.
Then that's a yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I've been working this. I've been doing some detective work on this guy for ever since I got out, basically. Like I went to work for a couple years for the legislative branch, and I worked like interacting with veterans and military. So every time I come across a Marine veteran, like East Coast or West Coast, and if they say West Coast, like what year? And the oldest guy that I've met graduated like 89, and he had the Bruno, you know what I'm talking about, the Italian looking freaking Guido dude that just fucking hurts recruits.
Yeah.
He's kind of a meme on Instagram at this point, but the oldest dude that I know of that's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy graduated boot camp at like 89.
How much do you think he makes a year?
I I've
Oh, what?
I'm sure that he is a 1099 employee for a government contractor that's been awarded a haircutting contract. And
Yeah.
I bet he's in the three digits an hour ballpark for his
Really?
wages. I bet he's 110 an hour or something for cutting
I
fucking
think he
recruit
does it.
hair.
I think he does it for the love, though.
The love of the game is what brings him to work, but the paychecks are what keep him coming back.
Yeah. I'm sure he's a great guy.
We
Oh,
heard on Paris Island it was $10 a head they get.
no way. No,
That's what we had heard.
you think that they're literally collecting scalps?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't think they give a fuck. They're like $10. Fucking, you got a mole on your head, gone. Don't fucking matter. Your ears, who fucking cares about it?
they're doing five platoons once a week. So if there's three in the barbershop, each platoon is 70 kids. That's 350 divided by three. That's 110. That's like $1,000 a week to cut. That's $1,100 a week or something to cut hair. There's no skill to it, dude. It's just pow, pow, pow. Next.
Yeah, they leave you fucked up with like a little
Oh
patch of
God.
hair, and you're like, God, I'm gonna look like a fucking idiot. But he's gonna roast me for all the or the whole week.
Yeah, pretty much. All right, so you check into First Marines. That is Camp Horno. What's Camp Horno like? The armpit of Camp Pendleton. How
Camp
would you describe that?
is a very special place, I think. I don't know, it had like an old school feel, a vibe to it, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, we still have my very first squad bay was an actual squad bay.
Yeah. Um, a lot of hills. It was isolated. It's like 40 minutes from anywhere you'd want to be. And it was kind of perfect, really, for me. I don't know. I actually enjoyed it.
I was gonna say like I didn't feel like I didn't feel like the Marine Corps was the what I had been sold until I got to Horno, and by then I was like, ah, shit, oh boy.
Yeah, you kind of like you come out of boot camp and you're then let down by how soft everyone is. Is that what you mean?
That and then like my first duty station was a non-deployable unit in Okinawa, dude. We worked bankers hours. My like I had a grotesquely fat sergeant that I worked for. Like I just was it's like this fucking sucks, dude. I could have joined the guard and had a probably a more intriguing experience. And then I go straight from there where it's like every weekend you're on Libo in Paradise to fucking Horno. And that I was going to say before you said perfect, I was like, some would say it's perfect because it really is. Like you get to Horno and you're like, oh fuck, I'm in the belly of the beast, like the beast being the Marine Corps.
Right. Yeah, I spent a lot of time like just hating myself and running the high trail and the low trail and the motor T hill. Because I think it's a good place to be if you want to be a Marine. If you're into it, it's pretty sweet. Like it has a really good gym and infantry unit. Like that's the Marine Corps.
It's such an intel shop thing to say. Like it has a really good gym. Do the S6. We saw inside the gym once in fucking 2 years. We were doing filthy platoon PT twice a day. That supply shop hill back behind on the north side or on the south side of freaking Horno where you run up and touch the telephone pole. I think they also call it sheep shit because of the quality of the road. Does that
I
ring a
don't
bell for you boys?
know.
I think that's Motor T Hill, the hill behind Motor T.
Motor T's on the other side of Horno. This is on like the inboard
I
side of Horno.
I know what
So
you're talking about. Yeah.
it'd be the east side of Horno. Like back behind those Hilton barracks that 1-1 took over right before we deployed.
I know what you're talking about.
Great place to drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's yeah, a lot of old infrastructure. Just a hard place for sure, isolated. So yeah, a lot of old infrastructure. I mean, our it was so forgotten about the regimental theater. Do you, David, do you remember when someone finally broke open one of the storage closets in the regimental theater and they had all the classified maps for the battle for LA, the LA riots?
I do.
Yeah, so that play, I mean, Horno's just been forgotten
Sure.
and
Yeah.
yeah, for decades. So it was a good spot. All right. So then we'll get into the deployments. Any notable people, good, bad, ugly, from around Horno with the podcast listeners, all seven of them know extensively about Jesse from the Chow Hall. But anybody else from First Marines?
Jesse from the Chow Hall. Notable. I mean, Gunny Exlos is pretty notable. Um, I think probably just the best leadership I've ever seen. never gave up on anybody, even when really, quite frankly, they didn't deserve, his backing, including myself at times. Trying to think, just characters, dude. Like when we first checked in, Sergeant Owen, just fucking, just the coolest motherfucker you've ever seen in your life. Aviators, tans, surfing every morning, super low fade, but like one of the best analysts you've ever met. I'm like, God damn, dude, I want to be like this guy. A stud, just jacked. And then you showed up.
You're welcome.
Thanks. You did say ugly, right? So
Yeah, it's true.
yeah.
Cut that out, Maynard. Cut it. Cut that.
And you showed, that was about the time, or that was like the weekend that I got NJP'd, right?
Very same. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll jump into that now. So what happened?
So I was in a pretty bad spot mentally. I was well on my way to becoming a good alcoholic, and then my brother got hurt really bad. He had severe traumatic brain injury back home, and I didn't know. No one knew at that point whether or not he was gonna like survive or be a vegetable or whatever. He's fine, but um, my it wasn't on. We weren't on the buddy program, but this guy, Jason, had been my roommate. Well, we went to boot camp together, and then we went to Intel school together. He was my roommate at Intel school. We got orders together. He was uh, obviously from my hometown, same high school, and showed up. And he said, "I'm going out. I'm going to town. I'm going to pick up this stuff, whatever." Comes back with some spice, and I thought it was like a bullshit synthetic pot or something. I didn't think it was like normally you can't buy anything over the counter that actually works. It's like supplements. Like you can either do steroids or you can waste your money. And I thought this was just like a waste of money, but end up smoking spice, and I'm just blitzed, dude, like out of my mind. Jason goes to sleep. I'm on the catwalk playing guitar terribly, I'm sure. I can't play it that great sober. So, and the substance abuse control officer happened to be on barracks duty or whatever, regimental duty that night. And he was probably the only guy on, of like any kind of senior leadership that knew what that shit was in 2009. And he walks by and looks down at me, and I guess I looked up at him, and he's like, "Devil dog, what is going on with your eyeballs?" Because of my pupils, I'm assuming, were the size of saucers. And he's like, "Did you smoke something?" And I had already been in a little bit of trouble at Nimitzi, the Intel school. And I realized like the best, the best thing you can do in that situation is probably tell the truth. So I did. And 20 minutes later, I was getting arrested by PMO. My roommate got arrested. He got woken up out of a nice slumber and spent the night in the guard shack or something. And the next morning, I was still fucked up, standing tall in front of the First Sergeant King. and he's got my SRB in front, our SRBs in front of him. And he's like, Roseville, California. You are going to go back to Roseville, California, a failure. And I was thinking, the fuck I am, dude. I'll do anything to get out of this. And if it fails, I'm going to kill myself. I like made a deal with God right there. Like, I'm not getting kicked out. If I do, this shit's over for good. And Gunny Exlos didn't know me at all. Really, he had just checked in. Um, Staff Sergeant Pettit went to bat for me. Basically, the only thing I had going for me was a motivated haircut and a good PFT. And based off of that, they decided that they would do anything in their power to keep us in. And they were successful. It was a shit show. We had obviously top secret clearances that had to be readjudicated. So I spent a lot of time in the S2 shop, not in the vault, printing, and like they kept us busy though. That's the thing, is like just fucking printing and laminating thousands of maps. I don't know what they're probably throwing them away, but they realized that they had to give us a purpose. And those guys definitely saved my life. I mean, Gunny Exlos and then Staff Sergeant Pettit also gave me like a character witness in front of the colonel when we stood for NJP. And we each read our statements and stuff like that. And he actually, the colonel suspended like half of my punishment based on his statement and my statement. So that was cool, but I pissed a lot of people off because I think the command kind of jumped the gun and they wanted to do something about it immediately. So the entire regiment, all battalions, got a page 11 in their SRB about spice. And the way it was worded, it looked like they all had been like in trouble for it. And I think it caused a lot of people some issues. So if anyone's out there and I fucked you over, I'm sorry, but you know, it's life or death for me. So
Yeah, if I can throw some things in here. So when you check in to First Marines, they had just gotten back from Iraq. The most dangerous time for a unit is when they're on a post-deployment cycle. You have nobody gives a fuck. You're a junior Marine, whatever. It's just not a good place to check in. Not a good time. A lot of stuff slips through the cracks. There's not a lot of motivation, not a lot of purpose really. So there's that piece. Also, spice was not illegal at the time.
right.
It was a gray area. And then I was present. Gunny Exlos had me go into your NJP. So I was standing in the corner, just cucking this whole ceremony, just watching the NJP and the colonel, regimental commander, Colonel O'Donoghue. He had kind of brought that up, like, hey, this is not illegal, but I don't know what article he pulled out, but basically it was like anything mind altering and this, that, and the other thing, that catch-all piece. And then he had said, you're lucky for your character witnesses and the fact that we're going to war, because he wanted to kick you both out, administratively separate both of you guys from the Marine Corps. And I remember Ryson, both of you, but Ryson standing at attention, and he's just fucking shaking, damn near convulsing, when Colonel O'Donoghue saying, I want you guys out. I don't want you in the Marine Corps anymore. But yeah, so then we all get the 6105s for spice, and a little bit later down the road, it's actually illegal, formally illegal. But was this immediately after the NJP? Did you talk to the sergeant major, or did he talk to you rather?
Sergeant Major Sikafus.
Yeah.
We had a few conversations. I don't remember exactly the conversation that followed that. I think it was basically like, don't let this define you. And I tried pretty hard not to, I would say. Um, had some other conversations with him that were pretty fun too. That's a different story.
Yeah, cool guy. Yeah,
Thanks
I
for
remember
sharing, man. That was a good story. NJP stories always crack me up. 'Cause it's just young men and we're all so fucking stupid.
Oh,
And then
so
yeah.
dude,
So,
you
yeah.
know what was crazy about that? I really didn't know, like I said, what that shit was at the time either. But part of my part of my punishment was like extra labor, after work. I was on restriction in the barracks. I was supposed to get demoted. That was one of the things that he
Suspended.
suspended. Yeah, thank you. And so after work, I would like police call the road from Horno to SOI down one side and up back the other side with a 55-gallon, heavy duty black trash bag. And when I got back to Horno, that motherfucking bag was stuffed full of wrappers, spice wrappers. Those were just the ones that people had thrown out their window. So it's a very small sample size because it's just the guys that litter between Horno and SOI.
Yeah,
So I don't know what percentage of that is, but like based on that, I think damn near the whole Marine Corps was smoking that shit.
because it wasn't illegal.
Right.
Yeah,
You just got caught, you
Just
know.
got caught by the fucking Sacco, dude.
Oh,
just
God.
yeah, yeah.
Man moment machine lined up and just really fucked you that time.
Yeah, it
Too
was
funny though.
I think it was divine intervention.
That
The Lord
shit.
works in mysterious ways.
When I was in MCT in 2000, in February of 2009, my rack mate went to. We got our little weekend off base shit. He went out in Oceanside and bought some fucking salvia, and he
Oh,
was he was smoking like, which is like that's the wildest shit for like a 19-year-old from fucking Minnesota or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, no, I'm in the Marines and shit. I want to get fucked up on a Saturday. He goes and has like like a psychedelic trip where he lives an entire other life inside of 15 minutes on salvia, like under the stairwell in SOI. And
no.
so he goes out, he rolls his little doober of salvia or whatever, smokes this shit, and then he comes back in the squad bay and he's like, he's like freaked out, man. And our combat instructor that was on duty that weekend was like, what was that? He's like, oh, salvia, sergeant. And he's like, how was it, dude? I've been thinking about getting some. Like the fucking sergeant instructor, because it wasn't the UCMJ at that time was
Yeah.
very specific about what was illegal, what was illicit substances. And because of specifically spice, they changed the UCMJ to be more nebulous about I don't know, illicit substances or whatever to include like they listed a bunch of brands of spice in the update to the UCMJ. So it was like K2 and I think they had a bunch of them that was named after mountains, like K2 and
Yeah.
fucking Denali and Himalaya and all sorts of shit. Then they wrapped in bath salts and salvia and every other designer, whatever laboratory pharmaceutical that they could think of. But even when I was in 29 Palms in 2009 for radio school, we had a kid pop positive for fucking meth, which was on the list. And all they did was bust his ass to PFC and recycle him to my class. He graduated my class as a radio repairman and went on to do who knows what in the Fleet Marine Forces. Like, probably he's a fucking sergeant major now. Like, I learned my
Could be.
lesson.
He could
What
be.
is the oh sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, I mean, that might have been from the Jack 3D at the time.
No, his was from smoking meth like a fucking like a degenerate. His was from actually like crystal fucking meth.
I
I
was trying
know
to get
there
him
is that
out.
sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say, I know there's that catch-all article in the UCMJ because we had some guys at 7th ESB that got busted doing homosexual pornography with their camis on. And I don't think that was written in the UCMJ anywhere, but there was a catch-all that
But
got
it
them
is now.
probably now.
That's 134, and they tack 134 on if they don't like you or if it's a big ugly NJP. Like
Okay.
I got my 134 charges dropped when I got busted down. But the doing Democrat legislator staff things in camis, I'm pretty sure that that's just against the rules to film, even if you're doing like regular boning in camis,
Oh,
not even just butt bone.
sodomy though. Sodomy is
Yeah.
one. That's what they busted them down for.
They could pin you in the UCMJ for getting an abortion until Biden became president.
Damn.
What?
Yeah, if you were an active duty male Marine and you had a regular civilian spouse and she got an abortion, they could pin you under the UCMJ until it was like 2022 or something. Like whenever they changed it, I think it was part of the National Defense Authorization Act is where they fuck with the UCMJ. But whenever they changed it, like nobody in the fucking House of Representatives staff caught that. But I was like, you know, I was on my prescription PTSD medicine, which was they gave me Adderall for PTSD, which is kind of weird, kind of a weird, exciting thing. But it really helped me read legislation when I worked for a legislator. And so I'm reading through this and I was like, oh, it means now you can't get NJP'd for an abortion anymore. That's the most Joe Biden shit I could think of. Like, I never heard of anybody getting NJP'd for it, and I knew of a handful of abortions that happened while I was active duty, but um, it wasn't until Biden came around. Like the UCMJ has some weird shit hidden in it.
Yeah. I do remember something about like using any substance to stupefy the central nervous system.
Yeah.
Intentionally.
Yeah, they made it a little more nebulous so that they could bust ass. That dude that smoked salvia in my MCT platoon was an air winger, and when he was on Fatima or Kinzer in Okinawa, he was like night shift working on fucking helos or whatever, and he was in the barracks during the day, obviously smoking spice, and got caught by the Marine Air Wing commanding general, like red-handed by the CG. It made the fucking cover of the Marine Corps Times. It's a big deal. This is the kind of guy that has a Cookie Monster flat brim and the Isis or what was the skate shoes, Anubis or whatever, the fucking Egyptian goddess named skate shoes.
Osiris.
Osiris. He had like Osiris skate shoes and a fucking Cookie Monster flat brim that he would wear on Libo. Like a very exact 2009 personality. That personality type did not escape 2009 intact.
The recruiter got him out of the smoke shop.
The
Kind of like
recruiter
they
was
get us out of the bars.
the recruiter was like, "I'm trying to get a water pipe for my tobacco. What's up?" And then that guy ends up joining
It's another good spot to find them.
for sure.
All right. So, I guess I'm going to fast forward, but if there's anything along the way that I'm missing, throw it in there. But September 2010 rolls around. You're going to Afghanistan. What are you thinking? What are you going to do?
What do I think is going to happen there?
No, 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 no. Like, what are your thoughts? I'm deploying. First deployment. I'm going.
Read us into your vibe, dude. What are you feeling inside as you're like at March Air Force Base?
I can tell you exactly what I was most worried about. I did not know how I was going to survive a year without alcohol, personally. I just thought it was the craziest thing. Like, I three things kept me alive, right? Alcohol, the gym, and running, and jacking off. That was my three pillars of strength that like fucking got me through anything.
Hey, what's the opposite of cutting a clip? How do we amplify that part? Like,
Uh, and you're taking away my primary one is alcohol, and you know I knew I'd be able to work out. I knew jacking off with I'd have to get creative, but no alcohol for sure. I'm like, fuck.
not as creative as you would expect, though. Like
Well, it depends on.
you go on deployment, and it's really like people get kind of comfortable not being super sneaky about it.
I got pretty comfortable.
Cranking hog,
Another
weirdly.
story. We talk about that. But I was just, and before we went on leave, the command brought out this dude, Lieutenant Colonel. They called him Blackjack, but I forget his actual name. I think it was Jack something or other. I could find him. He's on YouTube. And everyone thought it was like a trot out an old war horse to give a moto speech. But this guy basically like chaired an AA meeting to the regiment, and I'm like relating to everything he's talking about. And he's like, at the end, he said, "Now, if you related to anything that I said today, I challenge you to go home and stay sober for your 30 days of leave, because it'd be a real shame if you spent it drunk and then went over there and got killed, and then that's the last thing your family remembers about you." And I'm having this internal conversation. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do that. And I got home and I made it like 2 days. And I was having a party for myself at my mom's house, like a real fucking war hero. And I'm telling my brother and my dad about this guy because I was so impressed with him. And then like 5 minutes later, I started drinking. And by the time I got back to Camp Pendleton, like I I had to go get like multiple IVs because I was just so dehydrated, and like I have pretty large veins and they couldn't find them, dude. Like my whole right arm was just like that your elbow pit was just a giant bruise where they gave up on that side and had to go to the left side. And I mean that along with the spice thing kind of planted a seed for me to, it was another step towards me like getting sober, which is a big part of my life. So there's that. There's just recovering professionally from the NJP, trying, like I was fucking busting my ass, I felt like, to try to just recover to make up for that. Uh, and everyone was backing me. They were putting me on meritorious boards and stuff. And I could not pick up corporal, dude. It was killing me. Are you guys still there?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
The screen was black. So that was like a big struggle of mine. Like I think I was a PFC for probably a year and 6 months, and then I was a Lance Corporal for even longer. And everyone else, guys that checked in after me were pretty mediocre, I thought.
Picking up corporal, yeah.
Picking up corporal, and I was fucking absolutely beside myself. So that's going on, and then it's just like fear of the unknown. Like I didn't know what it was gonna be like, and then I kind of got there and had an idea of what I thought it might be like, and then immediately I got sent down to battalion, and within, fuck, I don't know, a week of like getting to Helmand Province, I was like on a foot patrol with a bunch of grunts that had, because I was sent down to 3-1 to help the transition with 3-1 and 2-1. And so the dudes at 3-1, obviously they're at the end of their deployment. They don't give a fuck. And some pogue shows up and they're like, okay, here's your metal detector. Get out there. And doing all the pre-deployment training is like, yeah, I tried to pay attention, but I'm like, I'm never gonna have to do this. And I mean, nothing happened, but it scared the fuck out of me. Um,
But did you remember batteries for your CMD? Because that's literally half the battle.
I believe it was on and functioning. Yes.
The amount of times just on me and Bruneman's fucking deployment where they're like, because our engineers didn't want to sweep, so we had grunts doing it. They come back and the fucking CMD just straight up not no batteries in it. It was more than once, which is a lot. I mean, one time is too fucking many, you know?
Sure.
And like, I guess I don't guess any of you guys know him. My company commander for my last deployment to Australia in 2015. He was a engineer officer the whole time he was an officer. He's like, this shit happens all the time. Like a ton of CMD work is done by dudes that have no experience with CMDs, and a ton of those dudes do CMD work without the fucking thing turned on because there's no batteries in it.
That's crazy.
So
Frequent type shit.
how long
Sorry,
do you
go ahead.
spend at 3-1 or at down in Garmsor 3-1-2-1?
Um, Let me think. I want to say I was there for 3 months, maybe 4. I came back. I don't remember, dude. Maybe it was less than that. It felt like fucking forever. That was so miserable. Uh,
Were you working in the IOC there, the two shop there, or at the in
no,
COC?
I was in COC uh, on night duty and trying to like work out, when I got off and sleeping in a HESCO barrier with a tin roof, and the motor pool was fucking right behind me, or not the motor pool, like all the logistics. They're a forklift, just constantly backing up, moving pallets and shit. 120 degrees, fucking. I just didn't sleep that entire time. I was like kind of going crazy. I think when you and Gunny came down and saw me, and I think that's when he pulled the plug on that. Like, it's time for you to come home because you don't look good. Because I basically just didn't sleep.
I had a question for you, Dybo, regarding deployment shits. What's the difference? Like where does the Marine Corps decide? Because I've never heard an actual like bright line for where the decision is made between sending dudes on a 12-month deployment and a 6-month deployment. Because I know that there were 9-month deployments somewhere in the mix. Like whenever in like 08, 09, when I first came in, they were doing like 9-month deployments for combat, like for Victor units, like artillery, infantry, engineer, like Victor combat engineer units. Um, but by 2012, there were 6-month deployments. So obviously, 1-1 got like a silly 3-month deployment. Regiment, First Marines in what 2010, 11 had a year-long deployment. How do they make that decision? Do you know? Because I've never had anyone explain it.
I don't. I've always just thought it was like the further away from uh, kind of kinetic activity you get, the longer the deployments are. Like regiment deploys for a year, battalions deploy for 7 months, uh, special forces deploy for
Uh,
shorter periods of time.
two
Yeah.
months or whatever.
Um, so I think it's based on kind of anticipated intensity, but I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, I
I
think
mean,
that's
I mean,
part
it
of it.
varies. It varies conflict to conflict, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think part of it is a regiment is assuming battle space with multiple units under its purview. So the regiment being there for a year can provide continuity
Right.
to everybody rotating in and out.
It's important that your incoming commanders know why there's no actual fucking mission, no actual objective whenever they come and take charge. Like, so you guys have been in Afghanistan for a year. Are we winning? Like,
Right. Well, I mean, that was a conversation that really changed my life one night. I was just like, hey, or somebody said, why are we here? Uh, fuck, I don't know.
because it's fun and it builds character.
This character. Well, that part's probably true.
I think it could go either way. Like it could strip some shit from inside of you that you can't get back, or you can build like you could build some important skills. You can cut some important teeth, or you can lose all your fucking teeth if you want to put it into an analogy.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like a good reason for uh, the nation to do it, though.
No, no. They need to adopt I've been on this. Instead of the single Marine program and the Marine Expeditionary Unit, they need to adopt the single Marine Expeditionary Unit, where anytime some gunfire needs to happen in like a zip code, in CENTCOM, let's just be real, okay? CENTCOM seems to be where that shit happens. You send the SM the SMU, and it's just some dude's backpack full of fucking magazines and MREs, maybe rat fucked MREs, backpack full of magazines, Skittles, and pound cake. I don't know. Um, drop them out of
Asians.
it. Drop them off out of a helicopter, or if your unit has a bunch of money for training, get them some jump wings and send them. Little static line drop. And if they come back, they come back. And if they don't, whatever. It's like 6 dudes. Who cares?
I support that, actually. I think our entire military should be that.
Yeah, that's way better than the single Marine program sending dudes to fucking Disneyland or the Mew floating around on the equator without power or whatever.
Dude, how does your mind remember all these things? Like, I feel at this point, I feel like I don't feel like I was ever even in.
I never really got like super far away from it. Like I kept in contact with people all through undergrad that were still in. And then as soon as I finished undergrad, I went right to work for as basically like a legislative liaison for veterans and military. And then every day I go to work now. I do like consulting and lobbying, and my first and probably favorite consulting client, the dude that owns that company, was a retired master gunny. I hang out with fucking retired dudes day in and day out. We talk about nonstop.
Wow.
Didn't get a chance to forget it. Blessing and a curse is what some people would say.
All right.
Yeah.
So Gunny pulls you from 2-1, says, time to come back to the regiment. I think you go on R&R in like December or January, right?
Yeah. January.
Yeah. So you get your week home
Yeah.
and
Come
then
back. And then shortly after that, I believe, um, the aerial interdiction force that gets started. And that was just the coolest shit I've ever done. Is your background? Yeah, that's AIM. Yeah,
that's it.
that's it right there, dude. Pushing trucks into the back of that fucking bird, confiscating hundreds of pounds of what do you call it? I heard you. I've been calling it the wrong thing for years. I didn't know that till I heard you on Ritland's podcast.
It's opium. It's not black tar heroin.
Black tar. We were calling it black tar back then.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
It was straight up opium.
Yeah, it was a processed opium. I mean, it looked like black tar heroin. Apparently, black tar heroin is a derivative of a specific type of poppy that is not found in Afghanistan. So
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah. So we were collecting that for the Sackler family. Um,
All proceeds go to benefit Greater Appalachia, dude.
yeah. Yeah. I actually don't know that for sure, but that's my suspicion. Um, they said they were burning it, but I'm like, there's no way you're burning this shit anywhere on Dwyer, dude. It's so pungent. If you've ever smelled it, you can smell it from a mile away. It's so strong. Like that. And then, yeah, Matt, I don't know like what details. I mean,
Who gives a fuck?
As
okay. Yeah.
as detailed as you're comfortable being, bro. Like,
Do NDAs like does anyone enforce those anymore? Because like everyone's writing books and going on podcasts and it's like everyone's a fucking whistleblower and there's fucking UFOs now. So does anyone give a fuck about anything that I saw?
No, government is all fake and gay or fake and gay.
100%.
for the record, we deeply give a fuck about what you saw. That's why we have our podcast. Philosophical shit, for real, we really do give a fuck about what you saw and what you
Oh
did.
yeah.
That's why we're here.
Yeah. So what's your role on the AIF? What are you doing?
Dude, I'm just your fucking sidekick. You're like the quarterback, you're the man. You're doing all the hard shit and I'm just having all the fun. Like you're logging every single detail, every fucking MGRS, every landing, what we do 400 of them.
Yeah.
And I have very limited responsibility and I'm just having the time of my life, like sprinting through the fucking desert out of a cloud of dust into God knows what, don't care. Like,
Yeah. I mean, okay. So we got to just, it was, dude, no other Intel guys will ever be as cool as we were or as cool as we almost were for that brief amount of time. Uh,
right.
it was, hey, we're doing this experiment. We're gonna get you guys some helicopters. We're gonna go after drugs. And oh wow, you guys, your Intel gunny basically lied to the regiment about the budget and used some off books dollars to buy $6 million worth of tracking devices and video cameras and audio equipment. I guess we can put that to use. And for whatever reason, you and me got to go have fun with all that shit.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? What's our responsibility on the AI?
So the way it works is like it it turns into um like an airborne vehicle checkpoint a lot of times. So we could be stopping one vehicle or we could be stopping like 20. Cobras come down, pop flares, fucking whatever, get on their bullhorn with their pre-programmed message and tell everyone to drop all their shit and get like 50 yards from their car. And the biometrics guys are doing the bats thing and head guys out there with the interpreters asking people where they're going. And you and I are searching all the vehicles looking for either opium or a satellite phone and weapons, obviously. Um, and if we find a satellite phone, you fucking put it back in the exact same spot that you found it because people don't hide satellite phones for no fucking reason. Um, and then we install a tracking device. Um, so we had it broken down. We had a system it was like two puck system, right? And I think I was putting mine in the ignition wire and you were going to ground.
Yeah.
And then it was like, and it always just felt like Christmas of like, when we get back to base, where is this motherfucker going? Because we know that they're up to something. You just don't know what. And a lot of just weird shit. Dude, I still occasionally will have these, I think they're related, but I have these dreams pretty frequently of being deployed again. I'm like suddenly, for some reason, I'm the same. I'm like my age now, but I'm deployed and I don't have any of my shit. Like I have no gear, no rifle. I lost it. And I think it's because this one time, when we got our upgrade to the M4 and it had that little bipod on the front, I got into a bad habit of taking it off and setting it on the roof of a car while I search the car because it's pretty fucking hard to get into car with all that shit hanging off of you and actually get down into the nooks and crannies and search it. And sometimes we'd just be like car to car to car, pretty fast. That we're getting good at it. And the whole like, apparatus is kind of moving down the line. And usually like we had a lot of time because they wouldn't let them see what we were doing. And we were usually long gone by the time they got back to their car. So I set this rifle down on this car and completely fucking forget about it. And then I'm like 4 or 5 cars down the line and they're spread way the fuck out. It was like probably 100 yards. And I finish searching this car and I go to grab my rifle off of it and it's not there. And I'm like, fuck. And I immediately remember where I left it. And they're like walking back at this point. Just the worst feeling that just your gut, like, even when you get back after the deployment, you're used to carrying this thing around for a year.
Yeah.
You have those moments of like, oh my God, where is it? It was that, but it was like actually real, dude. I beat them to the car by a few steps. Not saying they would have done it. It probably wouldn't have done anything, but it's just the worst thing you could do. That happened. You see a lot of weird shit, dude. Dead people, dead kids that are being transported. That bag that you cut into that one time that had seemed like a fetus in it. Some interesting shit. False bottoms welded into trucks. That one time, so there was a period of time where unless they had the drugs on them, we couldn't detain them. And this dude had a false bottom. It was like a 70 something Nissan and full of barrels. Thought it was like he was obviously trying to deter us or throw us off because it was fully loaded. We unloaded that thing. I could smell that the opium, like he had some recently in that false bed. Excuse me. And I was pissed because I'm like, I know we're gonna let this motherfucker go. And I'm thinking, not today. I'm not gonna say anything. I didn't even tell you. I didn't tell you for a couple of years. I was so worried about getting in trouble because when I got NJP, at that time now General O'Donoghue, it said if I ever see your name come across my desk for anything, you're getting kicked out. So I always had this anxiety, but also I'm a risk taker. What do you expect? And so this truck is running. And I'm like, it's getting late, it's getting dark. We're like low on fuel. And I'm like, I know this guy's gonna walk And Captain Taylor was on the radio, like doing whatever he was doing. Yeah, I think he was trying to get him, but I knew how it was going to end. So I just reach in to the fuse box and grab a fucking handful of wires and yank them out. And then I cut the ignition wire, and I'm like, this dude's going to fucking die out here. We're in the middle of absolutely nowhere. I'm just going to do some vigilante justice. And then he's taking forever, dude. The platoon commander. And finally, he gets off the radio and he's like, all right, load it up. We're taking him. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And you remember we were on that little hill and it was all like whooped out from, it was just desert. And now I'm like fading into the crowd, dude, like backing up. And someone's in the truck, can't get it to start, obviously. And he's like, what the fuck is taking so long? I'm like, it won't start. He's like, it was just fucking running. And I just so scared, dude. We ended up pushing that fucking bitch, which was not easy.
Took like 10 of us.
At least. And then we get it up into the tailgate, dude, the ramp. And then
we're low on fuel. The crew chief has already pulled the pins and pulled the M2 50 cal off the tail. Let's go. It's getting dark. So yeah, it was like everybody, as many Marines as possible on the back of that truck, and then Marines behind them pushing the Marines. Everyone trying to push that truck up that ramp.
Dude. Yeah, that was all my fault.
Good times.
Then the sappy play.
Go for it.
Yeah. We did a little arts and crafts. We had special forces unit, army unit, right?
It was the Army Combat Support Hospital, like the cache.
Oh, no, I mean, who actually dropped this thing off?
Oh, I don't recall.
Yeah. Well, we were dropping other things off, goodies for the Taliban, or so they thought. And this was just another little thing. It was a plate carrier that had seemingly plates in it, but one of them was a tracking device that Brenneman and I made that was pretty fucking legit, dude. We had
his tits, man. It was really good.
Like it was a good counterfeit plate for the supplies that we had on hand, because we made it out of styrofoam and cast material.
Styrofoam, cardboard, and then cast material and paint.
So that was cool. What else?
I mean, one that I don't really talk about too much was, do you remember the devices, the set of stuff that we did inside our compound?
Yeah, for the meetings.
Mm-hmm. So our go ahead, sorry.
Well, they'd bring these guys on,
Afghan generals,
or just influential, guys that are supposedly working with us, but we know they're really not. And they would come on base and we would give them time to talk amongst each other without anyone present. No interpreters, no Marines. And so, yeah, that place, I mean, how you would not be suspicious of that, I guess, if you didn't grow up like as an American and watching fucking Hollywood movies of, it's just basic like espionage shit, listening devices. Did anything come of that?
No.
No, that's. I wish. I wish that we would have gotten more out of it. Like it was fun, it was cool, but at that time, I would have liked to see more of our efforts being turned into actual kinetic events. But I don't know if any of them did.
I mean, Hardman and I were sending out hit packs so when
For
we
sure.
put in a, what do you call it, put in a tracking device, and then
Yeah.
you and
I
I
mean,
would be checking in on them like every day, like where are these things going, identifying compounds of interest, and then we this was all open source. Like we were doing this on a freaking NipperNet computer, checking out where these things are going, and then so we take those compounds and marry it up to our
right.
intelligence we are already collecting.
They definitely supported targeting packages in a couple. I feel like those things would have happened anyways, but it was more justification. It queued other collections assets,
Yeah.
and people died. So
Yeah. So AIF, I mean, you and I are pretty much like freaking cool kids in school doing the AIF stuff as far as the regiment. And then I remember all the cool stuff, but I also remember how exhausting, demanding that was. We had our regular jobs to do, duties to fulfill. And then so we were doing that AIF stuff on top of that. And it would be just like a couple hours of sleep a night. Maybe we'd sleep anywhere, everywhere on the dirt, whatever. And as cool as it was, I couldn't wait for that deployment to end, to like
um,
sleep for like a month or something.
July 4th, 5th, 2011. Yeah, we didn't. That was like a 36-hour day. That was a fuck day.
Yeah. So we finish up the deployment, we come home. What's post deployment life like?
But, um,
And then what do you do after the regiment?
Fall apart personally, and like you said, we became a lot of those guys that I judged, or like when I first got to the fleet, of like, how could you not care? How could you let yourself? I didn't let myself go. I was physically like always in good shape, but like professionally, kind of, we had nothing to do. They moved us into the old comm building for a while, and they were remodeling. And what were we doing? Like we would just hang out up there all day long, not doing a fucking thing. And I thought we had really good leadership, but Gunny left. He went to 2-1. Um, and you go from having this like mission that you're living in every day, 24 hours a day, to welcome back and you have absolutely nothing to do. I don't know if it's like that for everybody, but like we didn't have SIPRNet for months, and I'm not sure what that was about. Um, just drinking a lot, trying to get back in deployment shape. Um, and then shortly after that, I guess it was May. Did we deploy in May? We deployed at the same time, right?
I think it was June.
June. I went on the Mew with 2-1. Well, actually. So when we got back, it was Marine Corps ball time. We had a great ball in Vegas, and we had another one locally, and I get in a fight. Well, it was a play fight, grappling. It started out as fun with one of the sergeants, and this guy, like when Brenneman was doing, when he was hanging out with somebody else or hanging out with a girl or whatever, because we were so tight, like usually it was you and me, but if you were busy doing something, I was drinking with this dude, and I fucking hated this guy. Every single day he would do something that would piss me off so bad to the point where I wanted to kill him at least once a day. It's just the way he is. And I feel like anyone that knows him knows exactly who I'm talking about. And he ends up I got the better of him in the grappling, but I didn't realize it was like about to turn into a street fight. And this motherfucker bit me on the cheek, like right here. Hard, dude. Like bit me as hard as he could. And I'm like, this is it, dude. I'm done with this motherfucker. He needs help. And he was drinking more than I was. He's fucking drinking with PFCs and Lance Corporals in the barracks, pounding on doors at 3 a.m. I'm like, he's out of control, dude. He needs help. So I'm the first motherfucker. How many limo briefs have you heard a first sergeant say, you see a Marine struggling, it's on you to step up and say something, right? And no one's ever done it except me. I'm the first motherfucker in history, I feel like. So I go to the company gunnery sergeant and I'm like, yo, this dude needs help. And he stands up from behind his desk, pounds his fist on the table and says, what are you, a fucking doctor? And dude, well, I found out later it's because he had been to rehab like multiple times. So it was like he felt like I was talking about him basically, because I, essentially was. And so then I'm like, all right, fuck the chain of command. I go straight to our major. And I'm like, this guy needs help. So they talk to him and he volunteers himself to go to rehab at Point Loma. And now he's a sergeant and I'm a corporal and we work together. And he goes, I'm going to fucking make your life so miserable. Like the only acceptable responses out of your mouth to me will be yes, sergeant, no, sergeant, and aye, sergeant. He made me stand parade rest. I'm like, okay, this is like par for the course for this fucking guy. So he goes to Point Loma and then he calls me a couple weeks later and I'm like, yes, sergeant. And he's like, no, knock it off, dude. Like, I'm gonna talk. Like, we need to talk. I want you to come see me. So I go
It's
down
a conjugal visit? What's going on?
dude. He's like working the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous and making amends. And he tells me that I like saved his life and he's gonna be sober forever. And I'm like, this sounds, even for you, this sounds drastic. Like forever? Just can't you just chill a little bit? Like he's like, yeah, dude, but you got to come to a meeting with me in San Diego, dude. The girls are so hot. And I'm like, all right, I'm down. So we go to a meeting. He was right about the girls. And there's this like retired Marine it's called chairing a meeting. They share their story. And again, I'm like fascinated by this guy. Like I was so insecure, so afraid of all these things. And his life was way more fucked up than mine. And he was saying things to a room of strangers that I wouldn't tell my best friend at the time and laughing about it like he was free. And I go back to the barracks that night and I called my girlfriend and I'm like, I think I'm an alcoholic. And she says, yeah, I could see that. And like that like openness that I had for a moment just in snap shut. It was like, fuck you, cunt. Like I can say it, not you. And so then I go on the Mew, like right after that. I actually went to 2 meetings with him and had the exact same experience. And then I went shortly after that on the Mew and just almost died at every port, like blacked out drunk. Uh, Walking through Guam, just screaming the worst possible obscenities just for fun, not because I'm anything, but just I was so like angry at the world, and I just wanted to like piss people off. I guess I don't know. It was just fun for me, and like almost died in Hong Kong, dude. I got the like pretty bad concussion from a drinking injury, and so like the wheels were absolutely falling off, and relationship problems when I got back. And so I'm like, all right, I'll admit that I have an anger problem. And I called Military One Source. And the way that that works is they have these professionals, mental health professionals that volunteer a certain amount of their time for active duty, maybe veterans too, I'm not sure, but for sure active duty. And you get like 6 sessions with them. And the only question they asked was, do you want to see a man or a woman? And I'm like, just a dude, whatever. This is stupid, getting help is for pussies. This whole thing's gay. And I show up, it's out in town. I show up there and this dude looks like he's 100 years old. And I'm like, see, I knew this was stupid. Like this guy can't fucking help me. He doesn't even have a smartphone. And I sit on his couch for like 2 minutes. And he's like, what's going on? And I just start talking. And now I'm crying. And he goes, there's some stuff I could do with you. We can do like EMDR and some other things. But you have the mind of a chronic alcoholic. And if I was you, I would go to Alcoholics Anonymous. That's what I did 55 years ago on my 25th birthday. And I go every day, and I think you should too.
Break, break, break. Time for a 5-minute gear check, boys. This would be a good time for you to like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and we would really appreciate it. Don't forget that we want to interview veterans, so reach out to us if you want to have your service documented. Let other veterans know too. You guys can use the comment section, our socials, or the podcast email. Find us and follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook, and Substack. And go buy yourself a copy of War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province. You can buy that on Amazon or through the Wargate store. If reading isn't your forte, then we've got you covered with the audiobook. Thank you for listening to this episode of the War Business Podcast, and we appreciate all of your support. Let's get you back to the episode.
So I started going and had a short relapse right when I got out for a couple months.
I'd say we relapsed you one time, didn't we? Me and Bruneman?
Probably, yeah.
I think we relapsed you once.
It could have been. It could have been. There was a period of time that is kind of hard to remember, honestly.
It's not, I'm not laughing at you. Just like,
No, I know.
shared experience.
It's funny now. And then it was almost 13 years ago. So, but I haven't drank since August 19th of 2013. So that that whole thing, like I those deployments, that whole period of time in my life, to me is about it's about getting sober, really, and just the people. Like I don't. We're doing better recently about because of Matt, really, about talking to each other and staying in contact. But I fucking hate war. I'm against all wars, really. I think it should be the absolute, uh, there are no other options. I think I consider war a failure. And, and I told Matt the last time I saw him, I think, like it's the Marine Corps. I fucking love the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps and the military in general is like the greatest experience that I wish did not exist. Um, because the people that you meet are just like really incredible, you know? Like even your dumbass, Brendan, like you're so smart and funny, but like my initial like opinion of you was not that. I just thought you were just like a dumb, hillbilly from Oklahoma.
No, I get that a lot.
Yeah.
I get that frequently. I play into it. Little known fact.
I have this vision of you throwing like a 90-mile-an-hour potato at your dog.
That may or may not have had for fucking legal I don't know what the statute of limitations on fast potato and a husky is, dude.
Yeah. Um, and this like, dude, we had some of the best officers that it sucks. I want to say that like, I can't imagine anything better, but like I was in the Marine Corps for 5 seconds, like you do one enlistment in the Marine Corps, you just got like a taste of it, I feel like. Um, Lieutenant Allen was goddamn dude. Just people that make you want to be better and do better. And they want to help you do that, you know?
I think that insight into it ties, and I don't know if everybody grasps this exactly, but I think it ties into what causes a lot of people to have like issues reintegrating when they transition. And it's like, I mean, to your point, like you go and you see the fucking weird kid from Iowa or whatever, and then like you see snippets of what you get little glimpses into what their actual limits are and their upper limit, everybody that you know in the Marine Corps, like their potential as like a problem solver, their potential as I don't know, carrying a fucking machine gun up a mountain, their potential as whatever, is a lot more than they realized, before they spent time in the military or whatever. And then when you get out, I think part of the problem that people have is that that people around you have so much more to offer than they know they have to offer. And so
Yeah.
you see people accepting like a shitty version of what their actual individual potential is, and it's frustrating, you know what I mean?
Also, like the culture too is like because it's so matter of fact, someone can just walk up to me like, why the fuck are you fat? Like, you can't fucking do that in civilian life.
No, it's realpolitik every day, bro. Like you go to work fucked up and your platoon sergeant is like, "Hey, you're fucked up. This is why. And this is what I'm gonna do if you don't fix yourself." And that matter of fact, that candor doesn't exist outside of that culture. I think that frustrates a lot of people as
No,
they transition out.
even if it's frustrating, like in the military, I think if you grow up, you just get a little older, you really appreciate it. But then people in civilian life, even if you try to soften it up and you say it in like the most courteous way, they're like offended by it.
Yeah, you try to diplomatically tell somebody why they suck, and they're
Right.
like, "Well, I take that personally." Like, well, it is personal for starters, but for two, it's not meant to offend. It's meant to let
Yeah.
you look in the mirror more accurately. Like we're taking the fucking goggles off when you go look in the mirror. That's why I'm telling you this, so you can be better tomorrow. Like you don't tell me what to do. I'm not going to be better tomorrow. That's a huge choice, man.
Right. Anyways, so what's next on your agenda, Matt?
I mean, that's pretty much wrapped up the service. So, I mean, you started alluding to war, your feelings of war. Um, how much did you pay attention to American foreign politics when you first got out? For me, I didn't give a shit about Syria, Yemen, whatever. I didn't want anything to do with them, and it took some time for me to re, uh, I don't know, just pay attention again.
Yeah. Um, I wasn't I wasn't paying very close attention at all. And even if I mean, I knew things were happening in Syria.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't know. I had this like very strange and long journey of like, so when I was in Okinawa, I I got into a lot of Milton Friedman, um, like libertarian thinking, and I read The Ugly American, and and it was like a death. It was like a slow death of a huge portion of my life at that time, right? I'm like 25. So I've been, awake for about 6 seconds of my life. And most of it has been this war. And I'm like, fuck, I think that was bad. I think that was actually counterproductive. But it was like the best time of my life too. It was like this, I'm sure there's a term for it, but it was very uncomfortable. And like I love the Marine Corps. I thought I was gonna stay in for a long time. I kind of had I not kind of, I have a real health issue that I think I'm sure I would have gotten med supped anyways. Um, it's not AIDS, Brendan. I have like chronic fatigue, but there was so that like that was on my mind because I wanted to go to Marsoc. I think you had a package in too at one point, but I was developing this like inner conflict, and then the health thing, um, chronic fatigue. Yeah, I went from running like a 300 PFT to not being able to run a mile, period. And I was training harder at that point than I had ever trained before. And that has been a continuous struggle, but
That's a symptom of AIDS.
oh, it is. Fuck.
Yeah, you never seen fucking Freddie Mercury run a mile, dude.
No, I haven't seen him do anything except sing.
Just saying.
You might be right. I'm gonna stop doubting you.
I
Um,
think I think every that's like the little boy in every fucking Marine is like you see what it would be. Oh, what being Gunny Dyba would be like. What being fucking Sergeant Major Dyba would be like. And like part of getting away from being that little boy in your fucking head is like realizing like, well, that's not what I'm gonna do. I got to go
Yeah.
do other shit for one reason or another.
Yeah. And it's tough. And I know they spend a lot of money on preparing people for transitioning. I don't think I don't think it's very effective, unfortunately.
No.
But so I wasn't paying close attention, but I was developing a very different lens through, how I saw the world and how I saw the United States. And today I'm like, dude, are we the good guys? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it to me. What do you think? Why are you laughing?
I think we're like the four of us are examples of the good guys.
Sure.
But like the things that we bring to the table, uh, at least every once in a while during our different tenures in the Marine Corps, were co-opted by people that weren't exactly the good guys. You know what I mean? There's people
Yeah.
making decisions. There's strategic levels. Okay, we got plenty of dudes that can do plenty of work down way down underneath of us down there at the battalion level while we're up here at the fucking Pentagon level. And they put
Right.
us to work doing like dastardly shit.
Yeah, it's well, that's why you recruit them out of bars, right?
It
Those guys.
fucking it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the American people are good, but sometimes makes you wonder about the American government and our politicians. What's going on at the Pentagon?
I know. But it's like we're supposedly governed by ourselves.
I don't know if we really are.
I mean, that was one of one of the reasons why I wrote the book. So it didn't start out as a book; it just started out as something for my kids, and then I decided to turn it into a book. And part of it was because the obviously the Afghan withdrawal, and then us going into Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, and it's like, man, the American people are not better off for Iraq or Afghanistan, and I'm conflicted because I am definitely better off, and the best people I've ever met, best times I've ever had was in these wars, but it was bad for our country, and then also, I mean, I'm just selfish, but it was also bad for the people, the Afghans, Iraqis, just the whole Middle East in general.
This is bad for the world.
Bad for the world, and then so that's why I just keep coming back to like, man, I didn't know whether I should actually put the book out, but I was pretty heavy on my critiques at the end of the book because it's like, hey, there's never going to be a shortage of people, young men that want to go fight, and it is ours. Use me, all four of us, because of our government, because of the fact that we are in control of our government. Civilians supposed to control the military and whatnot. It is our duty to make sure that these young men that are going to go bleed and die and kill, that it is done justly and right. And even even in the worst case scenario, at the very least, to make our country better. Be everybody else be damned, but
Yeah.
it's not what's happening in the last 25 years at least. And I entertained arguments for long before that, but go ahead.
Well, I mean, just like prior to maybe a year ago, anytime I would meet a young kid that was like not sure what they were going to do, I wouldn't hesitate to say, join the Marine Corps. And now, if I met someone that wanted to join, I would say, don't do it. Don't do it. Like the Marine Corps, I'm sure you'll have a good time. I'm sure it'll make you a better person, but I just can't. So I can't get behind anything that's going on right now.
There are other more constructive ways to go out as a young person and become a man, become a good person, become a fucking contributing member of society. There are better, more constructive ways. Uh,
What are
um,
they though? Because
fucking building a house every weekend for Habitat for Humanity would go a long ways. Like, who cares who lives in the house? Somebody's ripping Habitat off, whatever. But just the amount of character built by going out and getting sunburned and putting a house together for somebody, you're not getting paid for this. Like, you're just contributing to society in your microcosm.
right,
That's
but
just off the top of the dome.
maybe Habitat for Humanity needs to come out with some dress blues.
Habitat for
Maybe.
Humanity. Habitat for Humanity needs to send us to freaking Thailand for Libo.
Dude, like that's the thing is that, and there's so many benefits. I still feel like I benefit from it, you know? You meet somebody or whatever, like they find out that you were in Marine, you have like instant credibility. They have a picture of you in their mind. Like they're gonna think about you differently. Um, and we in this country don't have a like any other tradition of like becoming, like a rite of passage of like becoming a man.
And I mean, being a Marine is one of those, that's like a S tier rite of passage in the American eye. You know what I'm saying? Like you could, oh, I played college ball. Okay, that's pretty respectable. But you come out and you're like, oh yeah, I was in the Marine Corps for 4 fucking years. I was a supply admin. They're like, whoa, you were the Marines, dude? Take
Right.
me to the range and teach me how to shoot guns. It's a
Yeah.
supply admin, bro. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
I
Well,
respect it though. I see what you're talking about. I think I would still tell young men if they were interested to join the Marine Corps or the military in general. I only say that because I think it gives them some skin in the game. Like you might not realize it what you do or like might not realize what you're doing at the time, but whenever you get out and you get a chance to reflect on what you were doing, even your time on the 31st MEU, you might not have realized it, but like when you went to Hong Kong, that was a big dick flex from the United States, a big flex foreign policy wise to park a Mew in the Bay in Hong Kong. And I did the same thing. Didn't realize it at the time. But then after I got out and then Hong Kong basically fell or whatever you want to call it, it was like, holy shit, like we put the fucking Mew in the Bay of Hong Kong and put Marines out in Hong Kong. And then just felt like it made me have skin in the game of what America's doing now and kind of opened my eyes. I think it's good for young men to do that, and it gives them some skin in the game to serve their country and be a part of these mechanisms that are American foreign policy. And so I don't know, you just grow up and then you're like, holy shit, America's doing some wild stuff. Makes you pay attention a lot more.
I mean, I agree. Well, you're not wrong. It makes it more tangible for people, which is important. But also, what about the mechanism that you described? Like, why do Iranians chant death to America? Well, if I had to
We killed
guess,
their government.
I'd say it has something to do with our foreign policy. And like, if you're really worried about terrorism or the spread of extremist, like, wouldn't you want to portray that like we have an attitude that we can get along? I don't know. That seems like what I would do.
I'd say the CIA fucked it up way more than the military did, but probably like you, Matt, Brennan, myself, the military gave me like and it just gave me an opportunity at life. Probably never would have achieved the things I did afterwards had it not been for the Marine Corps. But like, I think the military's doing a much better job than maybe the CIA. I think the CIA might get a sense of some shit that the military has to go fix. Um, but I don't know. Maybe difference of opinions on that. Even everything that's going on right now, if a young man didn't have anything or any opportunities, was like, should I join? Probably be like, me personally, like, hell yeah, man. I think you should, just to get you
That's, no,
started.
and that's what makes me so sad about it is that to to not support that, I'm like, I know what I'm denying them. And it's, if they were to listen to me, like it is so, it is, it has provided such a great life and opportunities. Um, but with the scale where it's at now, I'm like, no, don't do it. Even though I know in the big picture for them, it's not going to make a difference. It's a drop in the bucket, and it's not even a drop in the bucket. It's just hard. Like, I, did we, what did we accomplish? It was good for us, but it's like at some level you have to separate the things that are good for you and you wouldn't trade for anything. If you're a real patriot, in my opinion, like you have to forfeit that for the good of the country, for our ability to live peacefully into the future, which is not looking great.
When I did that debate last year, when I was entertaining running for Congress and I was debating the other candidates, and something I brought up was our foreign policy, it's about the interventionist wars and our use of sanctions, is we are going to lose dollar hegemony, or the every fucking thing good that we have in America is because the world uses our currency. And we're going to lose that. There's some indications in like Iran right now saying, hey, we'll reopen the Strait of Hormuz if everybody chooses to settle oil. Whatever country you chooses to settle oil in the yuan, then you guys have safe passage. So clearly, the dollar is it, whatever. All right. I'm going to get, I guess, woo-woo here, but nothing good came from Afghanistan. I'm not going to even talk about Iraq, Syria, Yemen, or whatever, but nothing good came from Afghanistan. And so I'm going to have to answer for my complicity in there, not in everything I've done. Part of me felt like some of the dark times, dark period that I went through after, I'm hoping honestly that it was like a form of like temporal punishment from God, and to like move forward and in a just manner was I had to suffer. I mean, I remember exactly where I was standing talking to you on the phone, and I'm damn near crying, telling like, we were already out, and like, fuck, I want to kill myself so much. I wish I would have just died in Afghanistan. That way I didn't have to do it now. Like it was a dark time, and now being on the mend, I'm just hoping that was temporal punishment, uh, cosmic, divine justice. So that's something that I worry about. Like, if my son is going to ask, like, hey, should I join the Marine Corps? If he was old enough to join today, it's like, I don't know, because what you're going to be going to do and being complicit, and it's not the Marine Corps itself, it's just American foreign policy.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be extremely proud of you, but fuck, man, it's not good.
So, I mean, I think the suicide rate is very telling. Like, and they blame it on, oh, well, it's this type of warfare. It's this counterinsurgency. It's IEDs and shit like that. I'm like, are you sure it's not the fact that you sent people to war and they could, if you had you asked them, I don't think they would have answered any better than you and I did when we had that conversation in the S2 in Afghanistan. Why are we here? And everyone has a different opinion. I'm like, bro, if you have a room full of fucking dudes that are actively deployed in the combat zone and they have different opinions on why they're there, that ain't good. What effect does that have on their minds when they go home and they've done those things? Like, maybe that has something to do with it. Seems pretty reasonable to me that that would cause some issues. I know, I mean, I don't think the Vietnam era veterans killed themselves at anywhere close to the same rate. And even that war, you know, as unjust as it was, but what was it about? Stopping the spread of communism. That was it. They had a much more defined reason for stopping the spread of what? Islam?
We're furthering the spread of militant Islam.
Right. That's the other thing is like just pay attention for 5 seconds and you'll realize that all of the stated objectives, we have actually all of our efforts, as heroic as they may have been in at the level of the individual, are counterproductive to the stated mission.
And then everything you did downrange, you know, as much of it was like meaningful to you, and became like a tattoo on your self-image or whatever. When you come home, it's fucking meaningless. Like you
Yeah.
come home and like your parents are like, "All right, glad you made it home alive." Uh, it's meaningless to them because you can't explain. We didn't figure out why World Trade Center Building 7 collapsed. Like we
No,
didn't we didn't figure out a lot of fucking mysteries that led into we didn't figure out where Saddam's WMDs were in Iraq. Like so you went downrange and you did a bunch of shit that was incredibly taxing, like spiritually and psychologically on you. And you come back and people are like, why are you taxed spiritually or psychologically? You guys didn't do anything. You didn't accomplish anything. You didn't fucking do anything. And they're
yeah,
like, well, I understand why Mary down the block thinks that because nothing in her day to day has changed from September 10th, 2001 until today. She doesn't know that her fucking emails are all collected in some data center ran by the NSA, subcontracted to AT&T in her fucking capital city in whatever state she lives in. That change to her doesn't exist. And so, like, for her to know that I'm a veteran or that you're a veteran or that all four of us are veterans is fucking meaningless to her. All that she knows is like, that's good. You guys get a discount on your fucking oil change. And then
right.
we're like, yep, anyways, Mary, there was a surprising amount of fucking dead children one period in my life that I ran across, and she's to her that also means nothing because her fucking daughter marches for Planned Parenthood twice a year. So like what good is any of it is kind of I think a driving factor behind like the suicide shit. Like dudes come home and this is not a slight or an insult to anybody, but dudes come home and like it was all fucking meaningless. What do I do with my experiences now? How do I move forward? I haven't experienced those things. And some dudes can't get out around it. And again, it's not an insult or a slight to anybody. Everybody has a different way of getting out around it themselves. There's plenty of dudes that I know that just couldn't get out around it or were trying to understand how to get out around it. And then their at home circumstances set them back, several spiritual, psychological years worth of effort because All they wanted to do was get home to their wife, and they come home and their wife has moved in with the neighbor or whatever type shit.
Yeah. I just go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that you're fucking making my blood boil, Clark. I mean, these are not conversations that are had with when we decide to go to war or topple another country. It's just that's like the underbelly of the war, the divorce rate, the broken families, Gold Star kids, Gold Star parents, this, that, the alcoholism, the just fucking whatever. And woe is not me. Like I signed up and I'm glad I did it and I do it again. So woe is not me, but it is our duty to have these discussions before we send people to war. And that's not it. It's just like, oh yeah, you love jihadis because you don't want to go drop a couple of tomahawks on a girls' school in Iran. You
Or you
coward.
support the Muslim Brotherhood?
Yeah.
Matthew Catarlson, you fucking...
Yeah.
It doesn't make a fuck, we're governed by the people or whatever, but I mean, to circle back a little bit to the fucking Ukraine piece, like me and Bruneman were talking about this shit every day as it's approaching. The Afghan withdrawal, we talked about that every day, and I was working, like I said, for the legislator, and the legislator comes back to the state office, and I'm like, hey, what are they telling you up there about how this Afghan thing's going to work out? And the legislator's like, oh, we have it on good authority that the Afghan government, worst case, will last 9 months before they fall apart. And I was like, it's more like 9 fucking days. And then the legislator's like, why? And I was like, look at this map. Okay. You see these districts as they're collapsing to Taliban control. That's not because the Taliban is massacring everybody in those districts and displacing them. It's because the Taliban is fucking popular. And so it's like, it was at like, I don't know, Burnham, when we had this conversation, like the first couple days of August in 2021. And I'm like, yeah, it's like 9 days. And then I think that I think the Afghan government that we put in was losing like 3 districts a day on average or something. And then on like the 10th of August was maybe the HKIA bombing. And then like the 12th was the total collapse of Kabul. And so me and Bruneman's estimate that we winged based off of fucking GIFs and maps from the Institute for the Study of War was like 24 hours off in our timeline and only like 8 months and 20 days off in what the intelligence community was briefing Congress. And then the Ukraine thing, and like we're not governed by shit except for election cycles. I mean, that's what it boils down to is like the purpose of the system is its purpose, and its purpose is just for everybody that's in there to get reelected. They don't care. If it was a serious legislature, they would have said, okay, Clark, okay, Brendan, how did you what fucking crystal ball? And I would have said, well, put me and Bruneman in DC to fucking filter all the stupid things the intelligence community is telling you guys because Bruneman and I accurately predicted that Russia was going to invade Ukraine. And the only reason that we were off on the exact date is because it came out later that Xi Jinping had told Putin to hold off because of the Winter Olympics, which is an important geopolitical look. But if we were governed by the people, I don't know. I just think they probably would have been, out of the 435 legislators in DC, surely more than one of them had a fucking weird tweaker kid working in the state office that was like, no, it's going to be more like 9 days before Kabul falls. Like Russia's not stacked up on the Ukrainian border for fun. Uh, Seemed like that was kind of the gist of governance for those things, though. And nobody in DC's done anything meaningful to keep us out of any wars, except maybe Joe Kent, but I think the jury's still out on that.
Yeah.
They hammered his ass. He's in the process of getting his ass hammered about his resign in protest. for this involvement in Iran. Like,
Well, none of these things make sense if you just look at the facts and then see our response to it. Like, well, I thought we crippled Iran's nuclear abilities last year.
Operation Midnight Hammer.
But also, like, no one actually believes what they say they believe. Like, it, Donald Trump, you want me to believe that Donald Trump is a conservative? Like, the dude spent more money. I think he almost spent more money than Obama in his first term than Obama spent in two. That ain't fucking conservative.
Does that account for the printing of like 8 trillion additional dollars? Because that printage ran over into Biden's first year of his presidency, but it was started in the last year of Trump's presidency, where they took the deficit from like 29 trillion to like 38 trillion inside of fucking 18 months.
Well, there's that, and then there's like this. He's basically manipulating business through his, tariffs and cutting special deals, and the federal government owns fucking part of Intel now or whatever. Like, this sounds way more like socialism to me. It's just not branded with the like leftist things that you would think would accompany it. It's like the worst of both worlds. He's like, says the thing that makes conservatives dick hard, like, yeah, we're gonna fuck everybody up, and then does some like socialist shit, and no one fucking stops to think about it. Also, what happened to like an armed society is a polite society? Because we haven't been at war with fucking, we're still technically at war with North Korea, but it's been awfully quiet, hasn't it? Why is that?
Well, we got a nuclear bomb.
No fucking shit. And so if your goal is to just have endless wars, yeah, you really don't want someone to have a nuclear bomb, because then you can't really go to war with them, can you? We won't
Oh,
go to
you
war,
you can, but it's not an endless war. That shit wraps up pretty quick.
right, unless you have a middleman that you'll, sacrifice to fucking ball like the Ukrainians. Then you can just give them enough supplies to keep the fucking money printers going and the military industrial complex well fed.
And BlackRock buying up all of Ukraine,
Right.
the rebuild contracts. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to get one of those contracts, dude. Go over there and build some power lines.
You don't have to build anything. You can get a government contract where you study the
True.
award of government contracts. Like you can
True.
get a government contract awarded to you, and they'll pay you to do like a study on how government contracts are awarded. I don't even know what you have to submit whenever you fulfill the terms of that contract. What do you like? Yeah, here's the list of contract vehicles that Chat GPT explained to me.
Right.
Here's the list of what awards and how competitive each of those vehicles contract awards are that Chat GPT explained to me. And here's the format that Chat GPT formatted for me. And also I use Chat GPT to schedule sending this email as well.
Yeah, that, and you have to stop by the island and blow old Slick Willie.
Dude.
Then you're in, dude. And then you have fuck you money. Now we're going to Dubai and we're buying fucking Lambos and people.
Buying Instagram models.
Yeah. Just walk around with an Instagram bitch and just dump champagne on her head all day, fucking throwing hundreds out. It sounds good. Let's just do it, dude. Let's become part of the swamp.
Dude, we got oligarchs already though. Like to your point about socialism and shit, like we have oligarchs. They're the people like Elon Musk and fucking Bill Gates and whomever, that like Bill Gates goes to Epstein's Island. His emails about like spiking his ex-wife's drink with antibiotics because he gave her the red ring of death or whatever from some Russian prostitute. Like those emails get leaked, and instead of being like, that's not what those emails were about, Bill Gates releases a statement that's like, It was a lapse in judgment. I've grown since then, and I'll never do it again. Like, oh, thank goodness, dude. Thank goodness you've grown since. It surely has nothing to do with the fact that you can't just go to the island and have a weekend getaway anymore.
Yeah. Well, this
Yeah.
is the turn for the worse, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, like, these are all pretty much our best conversations, anyways. Like, when you and I talk on the phone, it's just, I, I don't know. I guess the reason why I like them so much is although we don't have any answers, at least we're discussing truth, and um, yeah.
Before we wrap it up, can I ask you some questions about the Mew? I wrote some stuff down. I'm just interested to ask you about your Mew experience. If it's okay if we shift gears here, boys. Is that
Sure.
all good? When you or what years were you on the 31st?
2012. Let's see.
Dude, me too. I think we were on the same Mew together.
See, I thought so too. So was it 2012 into 13?
I think so. It was the Bonhomme Richard as the
Oh
helo
yeah.
carrier.
Yeah.
That's the one I was on. And then there was the Denver and the Tortuga, right?
It was in
And then were you on Schwab or were you on Hanson?
Nancy.
Oh, okay. I was on Schwab. But then we moved to Hanson too, like during the Mew. What ship were you on?
The Denver.
Oh, okay, okay. Did you ever were you in the same berthing as the engineers? Do you remember?
I don't know. I was with the Echo Company.
Okay.
Um,
Wait, did you go to Hong Kong in Halloween on Halloween?
yes, dude.
Yes, dude, I was there too. That was the craziest shit. Like you're talking about not drinking and stuff, and it's like the vibe was insane.
I think
Yeah,
Hong Kong then was what Vegas was in like the 30s. Like
yeah,
the party does not stop. Like people are going to work and they're still the best cover band you've ever heard in every fucking like club and bar, like playing top 40 fucking uh Jesus, dude. So I like blacked out one night and was just in full zombie mode, just out and about, completely gone out of my mind. End up somehow making it back to the hotel. Well, the guys brought me back, and I came to because I like belly flopped onto the bed and bounced off of it and slammed my forehead on this like solid wood nightstand, dude. And I used to drink and hang out with the corpsmen because like they would give me IVs. They were cool too, but that was just an added benefit. And I just remember like being on my knees and my hand like on my head, and I look and I'm just gushing blood, and it's like 6 a.m. or something. I don't know. And I'm screaming, Benny, like for the doc. He was in the room next door. And he came in and fixed me up. I woke up later with an IV bag hanging from the curtains. And I'm still absolutely hammered, dude. And I just start going off, screaming about fucking God knows what, doing George Bush impersonations, and it was turned into a spectacle. My roommates started like calling other dudes up to our room to hear this. And there's like 20 dudes in there, and and then I start to come down, and they're like, "We're gonna go out and see this and do that," and I started drinking again, and but then I ran out of steam. I'm like, I need to stay here, and they all left, and I go back to bed in my fucking blood-soaked sheets, and room service. Oh no, I get up. I fell asleep for a bit, and then I get up, and I'm like, dude, I have to puke, and I have like a phobia of vomiting. So I've thrown up like 5 times ever because I'll just hold it. I don't care if I have fucking food poisoning. I'll just hold fucking Marine Corps discipline. But this one was not containable, dude. So your mouth starts watering, and I sprint to the bathroom, and the bathroom is like there. Everything's so like they use every last inch, so you had to like step onto the toilet to get into the shower. It's like tiny little bathroom. Fucking swing the door open, and like a fucking fire breathing dragon, dude, just painted that room. Like full on exorcism, dude. Absolutely painted the bathroom from fucking ceiling to floor. And I'm just like, oh fuck. Oh God, I felt good. And they go back to bed for God knows how long. And then room service knocks on the door and she comes in with a little cart and sees me. And she's like, oh, sorry. I'm like, don't leave. No, the bathroom. The bathroom is so bad. And I'm still drunk. And I'm just listening to her diligently clean the bathroom. And I'm thinking about the book I just read, The Ugly American. And I'm like, oh, this is why everyone hates us. Because I started laughing so hard I couldn't control it. And that was an experience that I'll never forget.
And that was just Hong Kong. You also went to the Philippines, Thailand. I think we went to Malaysia.
Yep.
I don't know if we went to Indonesia on the Mew or not.
No, I didn't.
Okay. I
I
went
got
to
stuck.
Indonesia another time.
I got stuck at Guam for a couple of weeks too because the Denver kept breaking down.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that because there were some engineers on the Denver and old ass ship too. And then, yeah, but we went to Guam too.
Other than the Constitution, which is not real. It was
Yeah.
the true ship that was like in service.
Yeah. I've got to see the Constitution. It looks cool. I wouldn't want to be in the middle of the ocean on that thing though. Um, no, but Guam was so nice. I always tell people like they're like, "You went to Hawaii?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got to go to Hawaii," but I'm like, Guam, so much better. I love that place. It's like
We went,
Hawaii, but
did you go to Tinian?
is that a, I have no idea. So is that on Guam? Because I was also blackout drunk the entire time.
Tinian is the island they flew the atomic bombs out of.
Oh no,
Tini-
no, I didn't go.
Yeah, Tinian's not Guam, big bro. Tinian is what's their freaking oh God, Palau? Is it a Palauan island?
I don't. It's part of the whatever freaking archipelago that is out there.
I
You
think it's
got to go on the
Palau.
Mew?
I didn't go on a fucking mule.
No, I'm not asking you.
Oh.
I'm asking Diver. You got to go to there on the Mew to that little
Yeah,
island?
we did like a amphibious assault on Tinian.
Then maybe because I have no fucking idea.
Yeah,
Like
that's
with the AAVs,
yeah.
is
The
that what the island was?
what?
That the amphibious assault happened on?
Yeah, we spent
Okay.
like 3 or 4 nights there. Um,
Okay, never because I did it. It was a day. Did anybody kill a fish with an arty simulator on the same thing?
uh, not that I'm aware of, but
Okay.
I
Fuck, I
would.
can't remember. Did a whole bunch of shit. Like the 2 years I was in Okinawa was like go, 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 go. And it was all amphibious assault stuff because I was with Combat Assault Battalion and they had AAVs. So we were always doing shit. I can't remember, but we'd go to like random ass islands in the middle of, I have no fucking idea what country or where. And then like these generals would watch off to the side. Was it like that on yours? Like you could see the generals, like they'd be like standing off to the side of like the assault. And then like the Marines would do their assault or whatever. Ah,
Probably.
but one of them, one of my corporals took a fucking arty sim and struck it, and then threw it in the ocean, and it blew up, and it fucking killed this big ass fish. We were like, "What the fuck? That is crazy. Who would have thought that that would have worked like that?"
That place
But
was beautiful, bro. Like crystal clear water, like bright blue, just like what probably most people think about Hawaii when if they haven't been.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah, Asia was cool. But so you were with 2-1. That was the I thought the
Mhm.
Mew was with 2-3, but I get them mixed up. All the infantry is 2-1, 3-1, 3-3, 2-3, one
Yeah,
five.
yeah,
Worked with a bunch of the different ones, but no, the Mew was cool though. But I always think about like we were probably the last. I don't even think that was a common thing to go park the Mew in Hong Kong like that. But I
no,
think it, yeah, no, I don't think that was a very common thing. But like looking back on it, like that was such a flex from the United States to go put the Mew in Hong Kong before it fell to like the rest of communist China. But it felt pretty communist when I was there. Do you remember all the cameras everywhere?
a little bit because we had a kind of a sketchy deal with a guy one morning after a night of drinking. We were like kind of hanging out, smoking cigarettes with these British girls, and there was this creepy motherfucker, dude, just like creeping them out, creeping us out, and I was with one of the scout snipers, and he was like, "Hey, dude, get the fuck out of here! Just like leave them alone. We're like, we're gonna fuck you up if you don't leave right now." And the girls left, and he got pissed at us, and so we started walking back, and then we noticed that he was like following us, and so we start running, dude. We fucking like ran across the freeway. We're jumping like concrete walls and shit, trying to like ditch this guy, and he was behind us the whole way. Like we literally crossed the freeway and went down, going the opposite way, and he's behind us. So he's definitely following us. And we dipped into an alleyway and waited for him and fucking pulled him in and beat the fuck out of him. And then that dude pushed him out into the street, like into the sidewalk. Dude, he almost got smoked by like a bus. It was like a scene out of a fucking movie, dude.
That
Uh,
is fucking crazy.
I
Was he
do
just a
I do remember like looking around for like cameras and shit because I was just scared.
yeah, I remember getting off ship because we'd have to take the water taxis. And then I stepped off and like we're getting into the street. And I'm like, holy fuck, they got a camera everywhere. And everybody was following the law. Like nobody would jaywalk. Super clean city.
It was
Little
nice.
highway. Yeah, that little highway you're talking about. I remember like there's a little bridge to cross it. And it was like Lamborghinis, like Porsches, like all these supercars like parked on the side of the road. I'm like, this place is fucking wild. Um, and then
Wow.
we went up to they called it the Peak, which is like the highest point of Hong Kong, and there was a Bubba Gump shrimp up there. So we ate at Bubba Gump's. It was fucking weird. I didn't know why that would be a thing, but yeah, sure enough, that was the top of the peak was Bubba Gump shrimp.
Yeah, I regret not seeing more of the sights. And I remember looking up that peak and stuff and just actually experiencing these places. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, all of it was three hit all of them. So
Because we get drunk and wander. That was our thing. Like, let's just get shit-faced drunk at the first bar and then go see the sights. And then we got lost on the subway for a while, then ended up at some science museum with the IMAX movie thing. And then we
oh
watched
yeah,
some type of tornado documentary. My buddy was from Moore, Oklahoma, and they were like showing Moore, Oklahoma in Hong Kong on like the IMAX 360, whatever. And we're just shit-faced drunk experiencing Hong Kong, lost as fuck. But God, I don't know. Experiencing those third world countries like that was some of the best things that I ever got to do. Really eye opener, you know. Some of the things are doing really good. Some things, it's questionable. But it's good to see those other countries like that. But you got
yeah,
to see Afghanistan too, so that's an eye opener. But failed country. It's interesting to see like other countries that aren't failed, I guess.
yeah. Malaysia was like that too, like super strict. We didn't. I think they didn't sell alcohol there actually.
You could at certain hotels. We would ask the taxi drivers, and then they would have like bottles of Jack Daniels hidden in coolers
Uh,
at like these hotel bars. I mean, you get shit-faced drunk that way. I remember all the trash in Malaysia, though. I guess they had been importing like the world's trash and then just dumping it on the beaches or whatever. You would have seen it too. Like they would park the ships and they would bus you into certain places. I don't know if you remember that or not, but you could see like the coast. It was like little lagoons full of trash, like plastic everywhere. And so you could see the waves coming in, and it was just like moving plastic. It's just
See,
trash fucking everywhere.
I thought that was the Philippines.
No, no, the Philippines was cleaner. I got to go to the Philippines. My buddy says 3 times. I only remember twice though, but it was pretty because we would. Oh, well, you would have been. We went to Subic Bay
Stupid
on the
day.
Mew, I think. Boy, that place is a fucking shithole. I'm sure you remember. Yeah, wild ass Subic Bay. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
won't share any story.
they,
You know what happens there, though. My God.
yeah, we'll save
Yeah,
that.
yeah, we'll save that one. But no, it's cool. It's cool that we were on the same Mew. And now the 31st Mew is going to the Middle East, which I think is interesting because we used to do a lot of island taking stuff or like beach landings, and it's like they're sending that Mew specifically to the Middle East. It has my alarm bells ring, and I'm like, shit, they probably are going to try to take an island.
Yeah,
It's gonna look a lot different than what you and I did on the Mew. They don't have AAVs anymore. Thank God. Did you ever have to ride on an AAV?
yeah. We launched them off. That was the Denver was a LPD-9. It was
Yeah.
so
Yeah, the Tortuga could too.
dude, that shit
But hey,
was sketchy.
oh, good God. Did they ever have the exhaust leak on the inside when you were in there on? No, anyway, um, I guess I did another thing called LF Karat, and we splashed onto ship from Camp Schwab. So like the ships were parked like a few miles off the coast, and then we had a AAV that had an internal exhaust leak. And then so we're like super hungover. My buddy got his tooth headbutted, like his canine tooth broke in half, like 3 hours later or earlier at the E Club. I'm so fucking hungover. I'm like hanging out the hatch puking. It's like a storm coming in. The waves are rough. And then our AAV has an internal exhaust leak, but then they have to pick up a broken down AAV. Like one was just going to go on ship and broke down. So they got to stop and then they hook it up with ropes. Did you ever be a part of any of that crazy shit where like an AAV doesn't make it? Then they got to like recover it in the water? Fucking, I'm glad they got rid of that vehicle though. I'm glad mine always swam.
So what are they using now?
What is it called? It's like a striker that floats. I don't know. It's different. I don't know the name of it.
Hmm.
But I think when a few years ago, you might have saw it where like basically a whole squad died. Their AV splashed off a ship and didn't come up because it's like a fucking 40-ton vehicle.
Yeah.
Um, but I think after that, that pretty much put the brakes on AAVs and shit. I think that's the worst vehicle that the Marine Corps ever made. Me and Matt talk about this a lot, and I know that you got to ride in one too, but 53s are a good damn helicopter. I'd ride on a 53 all day long. I love those things. Fuck a Osprey and fuck a 46, but a 53, I'm feeling good about a 53 for sure.
Yeah. Even though you're covered in fucking hydraulic fluid.
Yeah, he talks. I never had that happen to mine. Just remember the rotor wash, like when you land in the fucking desert and a 53 is rotor wash, and it's like some biblical looking wall of dust, and you get dust everywhere in your ass crack, in your ears, your nose.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
got some videos of us running out 53s, and yeah, you just looks like you're running into a sandstorm.
Yeah.
The rotor wash on the 53s. We should probably I'll figure out how we can get that, maybe like an intro video for the channel or something. But
Do
it's
you
on
remember,
the terminal.
now that we have both of you two together, when you ran off your 53s, did the crew chief get out and tell you not to run into the tail rotor? Do you remember that?
I think he stood.
He would stand at the back of the gun and point the gun which way to run.
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't
Okay.
know
Okay.
which side we had landed on. Like we didn't know where the target was. So he would direct us from the
Okay.
back. Like, it's that way. Good luck.
Because you can run right into that fucking tail rotor. I wouldn't, I'm a short king here, but like Brennan would have been fucking chopped up. I mean, Dyba, how tall are you?
6'1".
There,
Oh yeah, you would have
it's
been
not hard
fucking.
to avoid the tail rotor. You just run.
You can get caught up in the moment though. I don't know, I'd say it could happen.
We got off
1% chance.
we got off of 53 in Kajaki and some dickhead boot like tripped over his Pelican case or something and created like a clusterfuck there right at the end of the ramp. And so me and I don't know, three other people just went out wide around the tail rotor and some fucking dickhead from whoever we were replacing, like got in my shit and he's like, you could have got your fucking head cut off by the tail rotor. And I was like, don't fucking touch me. Just go home, dude. Get on your helicopter and go home.
Yeah.
Like, good luck, bud. We'll see you. Never. Don't
Oh my
fucking
God.
yoke me up because you think that I'm going to blindly run into a tail rotor. You fucking idiot.
I probably would have been that
Matt,
guy when it got me though.
Matt, did you ever tell a story about that dude that shit himself?
It's in the book?
Yeah, it's in the book.
Okay, I thought so.
The EOD, was it EOD? Or maybe he was just one of the sergeants from that reservist unit, but
No, he was EOD, I think.
yeah, he had gotten just
And I think,
super sick, got motion sickness on the 53.
dude, I'm pretty sure it's because he was drinking fucking. I think he was living off of fucking sodas.
Yeah, he was a big boy, that's for sure. Remember that. But yeah, he they I don't know, he just fucking shit himself. He tried shitting into a hefty bag, a black
Yeah.
hefty.
Oh, I remember. Oh, dude, I remember him finally. Like it was so humiliating, right? Because there's nowhere to hide. You're just surrounded by dudes. But I remember him like motioning to like crew chief, like, "Hey, can I throw this out the back?" And the guy just shakes his head. And there's a moment where he just stands there looking at it, and then he had to stuff it into his pack.
And he had already shit all over the walls. It sprayed all over seats, the walls, the floor, everywhere.
Oh my
Fucking
God.
crew chief rethinking his life choices. He's gonna lap move when he reenlists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get to ride in any other helicopters, David? Did you ride in any 46s or Ospreys?
I rode an Osprey a couple times. I don't even understand that thing, dude. Like it it was so small inside.
Oh yeah, compared to 53 for sure.
Like, what the fuck is this thing even good for? Other than crashing.
Oh no, dude, I was scared to death because they're in helicopter mode till they're not, and then they're flying that thing like they fucking stole it, and I was just like, oh God. And then I don't think I had my 7-point seatbelt on right anyway. It's the most confusing seatbelt. So all I remember from the Osprey, like the first time I got in one, I sat down, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And there's like 7 point. I'm like, dear God, like this, they did not think of Marines when they came up with this seatbelt.
Well, they knew it was
Um,
going to crash though, so it had to have a good seatbelt.
yeah. Did you ever have to do the Helo Dunker when you were part of the MEU?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, how did you like that?
I enjoyed that. I was
Fuck.
very comfortable in the water, so
Oh, good for you. I was like the last one to pass. Like when they like roll it over and you're like blindfolded in the water. And then like there'd be times my fucking air tank would be empty or whatever. And then I'd be like trying to breathe. I'd be like, fuck, I'd freak out. I was not a fan
yeah,
of the Helo Dunker.
yeah.
But
You
then
just
on the yeah. And then on the Mew, because we'd do the Helo Dunker, then we went on the Mew, and I was on the BHR, and then we're like getting ready to do our first helicopter stuff, and I like look down at my little tank, and it's empty, and I'm like, whoa, 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 hey, my tank is empty, and like the Navy person was like, they all are. I'm like, oh my God, we're all fucked, we're all gonna die. Um, but fortunately, none of my 46s ever went down in the water or went down at all. Oh God.
well,
Riding the
there was
Marine Corps
53
helicopters.
actually that crashed when we were in the Philippines.
Was it? I thought it was a 46.
I think it was 53.
fuck, because I know it was the female pilot, or that's what I had heard. Because we were doing machine guns, and then anyway, the helicopter goes down and like landing gear clipped the top of the mountain, if I'm recalling this right,
Yeah.
and then rolled down. And my staff sergeant and lieutenant went and blew it up or whatever. Like did they call it a blip, blow in place
Yeah.
for it, like non-recoverable, so they just blow it up. And yeah, wild times. But I heard it was female pilot flew a little bit too low. I thought it was a 46, but so long ago, sometimes it doesn't even feel real, like being there. Like you were talking earlier, like, it feels kind of like a dream or whatever. Like, was I even there? It's kind of how I think now because I got out 11 years ago.
Yeah.
But that was all my saved rounds, though.
Anything else you want to mention, Dyba? Any last thoughts that I don't know, questions that we should have asked or whatever?
Questions that you should have asked. I don't know.
Anything yeah, through the service.
Well, I mean, I will say just a completely different topic, but like I struggled, for most of my life with like depression and say alcoholism, and then I got sober shortly after I got out, but I still had a very difficult time with depression, and I've had a loaded gun to my head on two different occasions. And one of them was like the last night I drank, and the second one was like 5 years after I got sober. And then I had a period of time where I could not stop thinking about it. A few years ago, like I couldn't even have a conversation, like a real conversation, because it was literally just an intrusive thought at all times. And a friend of mine ended up going to Costa Rica to do ayahuasca, and he was in a had been in a similar spot, and eventually I went down there with him, and that shit saved my life. So it was tough for me because it felt like I was like relapsing or whatever, like not being sober anymore, but I consider them vastly different things. And I'm sure you guys have heard about like ibogaine and stuff like that. But
Well, what I mean, keep talking how much you want to talk about it, but I did want to have you on just specifically in another episode about this. But you want to tease. I mean, I guess we'll save it for them. But like your redemption arc is pretty fucking epic. So if you want to keep going, go for it. But I want to fully explore this and inform people.
Well, we've been at it for like 3 hours, so if you want to save it, I mean, I'll just, for anyone that maybe can't make it to the next episode, like uh do whatever it takes to get real help. Like fucking 3 nights, 4 nights of ayahuasca to me was more helpful than like 10 years of intensive work in AA with any kind of sponsor or going to the VA. Like that was essentially useless. Any kind of therapy, like truly mind blowing. Like I'll have to think about it. I'm glad you warned me about this because it's hard to put into words. Like it essentially cured my depression from the very first time. Like it just turned off. I've had bad days. I've had like life struggles like anybody else, but I've never even come close to, like, I feel like suicide is completely off the table for me. And that was not the case for most of my life. So I think we could just leave it at that.
Yeah, and that was the Costa Rica. But what was the ceremony? You mentioned a few things.
I did ayahuasca. A lot of veterans are going down to Mexico to do ibogaine, and I have a friend that went down there. They do ibogaine, which is another psychedelic. It's a root bark from Africa, and they do basically like a 24-hour trip on ibogaine, and a lot of other integration things, sweat lodges and meditation, and then they smoke 5-MeO DMT, and they say the ibogaine like knocks all the rust off and kind of smooths out all the gnarly shit, and the 5-MeO polishes it, like just polishes everything. And my buddy was a Marine that deployed to Iraq, and then he worked for Blackwater, and he was on the SWAT team locally, and he's been a cop for like probably 15 years now, maybe longer. And he was at his wit's end. He was about to pull the plug. And he went and did that about a year and a half ago. For me, my experience was, my first one was almost 3 years ago. I've done it a few more times just because I feel like it's helping me in other ways. But ayahuasca is a orally active form of DMT. And so, yeah, I don't know if you ever heard like Ron White talk about his experience with it.
Yeah.
That's how my friend's sister found out about it, and she like forced him to go, which saved his life, and then he kind of forced me to go, which saved mine. And we ended up going to that same place that Ron White went to, and he's like a board member there now.
Is it the same one that Aaron Rodgers went to? Because it's became a lot more popular since that Aaron Rodgers documentary on Netflix came out.
No, I think he went to a different one. There's
Okay,
a lot of them.
got it. Look cool.
Dyba, tell me to shut up, but if I need to. But I mean, you had been working the steps for years, which obviously was a net benefit. You had clawed your way out from an abyss. You had excellent woman, excellent job that you like, pays well.
Yeah.
Every mark of stability and upwards trajectory, but there was still that, I don't know that's the angst, the depression that you couldn't alleviate.
Like when I first got out, I didn't really have a plan. I was like gonna go to school. That's my plan. I'm gonna go to school for what? Business. It's like it's so generic. There's no clear cut objective, And so I wasted a bunch of time and like eventually ended up giving up on that and just going to a trade school, which I would recommend to, most people. But like during that time, I think one of the reasons why I didn't go through with it was like, well, of course I'm depressed. Like my life is such a mess. But then I like finally end up in like a long-term stable relationship, no fighting, no drama, no bullshit. Like, and then I get this amazing career. I'm a journeyman lineman. make great money. Like I have the house, like got all the toys I want, have dirt bike, and I'm like, okay, now this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Um, and I cannot stop thinking about it. And I don't want to keep doing this. And since that time, like since my first time, it has just opened up a whole other realm. Like I was spiritual before, like I consider myself a believer in God, but like, dude, I get overwhelmed sometimes. I will just be driving and see something or think about something, and I would like break down crying, like out of joy, and which is like that shit's not fucking normal for me. Uh, or it wasn't before at any point in my life before this. So it can be
Yeah.
the experience itself, like it can just be so many different things, but I feel like it gives you whatever you need. Like I truly believe that. Because like my first few experiences were nothing but like this sense of ultimate like forgiveness and love, and like you're experiencing these emotions at a level that you can't even imagine. They're so deep. And then I've had some other experiences that were like incredibly um, scary and painful and like really like rock your fucking world and like shake you to your core. Then it takes a while to like, some of them it's obvious, just like boom, like the first time, just turn the depression off, like gone. And like reunite me with like family members that I didn't talk to my mom, my dad, my sister for years, and like fix those relationships overnight. But other things can take longer to like integrate or figure out like what that was about, the more challenging experiences. But for anyone that's struggling, like basically the way my friend put it to me was like, well, if you're going to kill yourself anyways, you might as well try this. And then if it doesn't work, you're still free to kill yourself. But I would highly recommend something like that.
Yes, I know that the place that you went, I mean, there obviously, if it's in Costa Rica, there is a cost to it, but some of these, I mean, they sponsorships where it's not as help you pay to get down there to get the treatment if you need it.
I met a veteran my first time there that was on a sponsorship, and his entire trip was free. The place I go to is pretty pricey, although like what's your life cost? I know that might not help somebody that literally can't afford it, but there are other places that are like reputable places that are significantly cheaper. There's a place in Colombia called La Guaira that is like super affordable for the amenities that it has, and for like the shaman, the medicine, the everything's like covered, your food, everything, like very affordable. So
it's doable. That's all I was trying to get you to say.
It's doable. And dude, if somebody needs help, like hit up Matt, and Matt will get a hold of me, and like I'll help as many people as I can. Like I'm that convinced by it. Like I feel compelled that, like, I wish I've tried to like send other people that I know and they're like afraid to do it. I'm like, dude, I'll fucking pay for it. Please go. But I understand why you'd be afraid. Like I said, like I have a phobia of vomiting, and one of the side effects of ayahuasca is vomiting. I was just desperate. So,
And I'm a puker, man, so I'm sure I'd puke. Brendan see me do it 1,000, maybe more times. It doesn't take much. I'm sure
It's
if I ever went down there.
disgusting. It's
Yeah.
disgusting.
He's like
Pukey.
you. He's not a puker, but
I don't
me,
fucking
man,
puke. I ain't
I'm like
scared of it. I
this.
just don't do it. It
I'll
takes
get
if
that
I'm
evil out of him.
puking, if I'm puking, it's because I drank a fucking Marine Corps amount of fucking Jameson or something. I don't do that shit no more.
If I
All
have
right.
pork, I'm puking. All right.
Any saved rounds, anybody?
No, Diver, I just want to say thank you, man. I enjoyed your time. It was great talking with you. Hope we have you on again.
Good to
likewise, brother.
see you, bud.
You too. You look really good.
I'm having a fucking hair day because I had to walk back in the wind. I had to take my truck to get tires. I walked 3 fucking miles back, and Maynard will attest the wind be winding today in Oklahoma. Good God.
It'd be windy. I could have just gave you a ride. You should have texted me.
Fucking,
All right.
it's good for you. Get your steps in, pal.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Thanks, Matt.
yeah. Thanks for coming on, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode.
Later, boys.
Thanks.
The War Business Podcast is brought to you by Matthew Bruneman, Brendan Clark, and Dakota Maynard. Editing by Stephanie Maynard. The theme song is California Wind by Bruno E. The War Business Podcast cover art is the copyrighted property of the War Business Podcast. The book, War Business, The Hired Guns of Helmand Province, is copyrighted by Wargate Books. Wargate Books is not responsible or liable for any material or conversations produced and expressed by the War Business Podcast.